Welcome, Pewter Report readers and listeners, to a Super Bowl champion edition of the Pewter Report podcast, Energized by Celsius. I am John Ledyard, along with Scott Reynolds, and we are sitting above Raymond James Stadium, where the Bucs have just won the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, 31-9. What a ride, Scott! Can't believe we're here.
Yeah, there's just so much to dissect in this game, John. This is the second Super Bowl win for the Buccaneers. And listen, I've covered the first one, right? 25 years doing this. This is year 25 for me. And in 2002, you had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win their first and only Super Bowl.
Yeah.
John, this team, this 2020 team is the best Buccaneer team in franchise history. It actually tops the 2002 Super Bowl team, and we're going to get into that. But the reason why is the path that this team took to get here. And I asked Dwight Smith about this at the Glory Days on Saturday when we did our Super Bowl preview podcast. And you know, and that's what he said. He said if this team wins, they actually beat the 2002 Super Bowl because of the quarterbacks of the teams that they had to go through the gauntlet. And let's put aside Taylor Heineke in Washington, right? Let's put that one aside because that was not a great quarterback. But what we are talking about is we're talking about going to New Orleans, beating Drew Brees, exercising those demons, and beating a team that had beaten this Bruce Arians Buccaneer team 4 straight times. Then you go and face the I shouldn't say the Super Bowl, but the league MVP.
Yeah.
In his home domain, up north in the frozen tundra in Green Bay. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers. Then you beat the defending Super Bowl champion, Patrick Mahomes, and this high-scoring Chiefs football team. Yeah. It's a more impressive feat than the Bucs had in 2002, beating a Jeff Garcia San Francisco 49ers team here at Raymond James Stadium, beating a Donovan McNabb Philadelphia Eagles team up in Philadelphia, and then beating Rich Gannon, who was the Super Bowl MVP that year with the Oakland Raiders.
Or the league MVP, right? League MVP that way.
Yes. Yeah. But the thing is when you look at Garcia and you look at McNabb, and you look at Gannon, they don't stack up to Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and now Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. And we talk about that great Super Bowl performance by the defense in 2002. Yeah. John, this was every bit as impressive, incredible, if not even more so, because holding this offense without a touchdown to 3 field goals.
We would have, if I told you that on the pod, you would have fired me. I said they literally, you would have been like, dude, get out of here. Like, you're absolutely ridiculous. Without a touchdown. That is unbelievable. I don't think they've gone a game with Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback where they haven't scored a touchdown.
I know. It's stunning.
To do it on this stage, in this game, with all the time to prepare and how Andy Reid is off a bye, and I don't care who's playing offensive line. Eric Fisher wasn't the difference between something else, a different result tonight in this. Like, that wasn't –
and you know what? I don't want to hear about Eric Bieniemy anymore. Everyone's crying that he didn't get a head coaching job. You know what? He might be deserving. He might not be. But the guy who really deserves the head coaching job is Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles. He's the guy. He's the guy that this league slept on this coaching cycle. So, I don't know if Todd Bowles was drinking Celsius. I know Scotty Miller was before the game.
That's right.
But if you haven't been drinking Celsius today, I know I had mine. That's why I'm wired and ready to go at midnight here. It's not just the Bucs win, John. It's the Celsius. Let's go. John, there's no Celsius at Raymond James Stadium, which is a damn shame.
No, it is a shame.
I got Celsius running through my blood right now. And listen, Celsius, as you guys know, it powers active lives every day with essential functional energy. And you've probably heard us talk about it all week and the week before that. This is the last day. This is the last day to subscribe and save and get 30% off your order. So if you haven't tried Celsius, now is the time. Be sure to click on the Celsius banners on pewterreport.com. They're going to take you to Amazon where you can subscribe and save and get 30% off your first order. And then you can set how frequently you want Celsius delivered to your house. Every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks, every 2 months, every week, whatever. They're going to replenish you so you never have to reorder. It's always going to come to you automatically, and you're saving 30% on your first order. Most of the Celsius supplies in stock on Amazon right now, and that's through Monday, February 8th. So get on it right now. Support our friends over at Celsius.
Yeah, Celsius, Scott, is what I'm going to need. I had one earlier today to sustain me, and then I'll be up writing. So whenever I get home tonight, whenever that is, middle of the night sometime, probably going to have another one like we were talking about before we get on the air. May have to stay up all night with this. And so, we have kind of been – there was a couple times in the press box I just looked over at Scott. I was like, this is actually, like, really happening. Yeah. Like, this is really, really going on. And we've got to get to all your Super Chat donations. You guys have been amazing. Fantastic. We do appreciate the Super Chat donations greatly coming in. You know the kind of work we're trying to put in and get good content up on the site. So this all helps us do that, helps us get everything we need for the podcast. So we do greatly appreciate these Super Chat donations. Mediocrity incarnate, Todd Bowles' game plan turned a juggernaut offense into a skid mark tonight. That man should not be buying a drink in Tampa for the rest of his life.
That's right.
I mean, that is so true. Scott, what an unbelievable turnaround. Remember, this defense was reeling, really, especially going into the bye week. They got a little bit easier after the bye week, but still, Atlanta took them apart. Really, in both games, they were not good in either of those games. And then Washington first round, and I know it was 23 points, but it's Taylor Heineke, and he looked like a world beater against the Bucs at times. And it was just, man, I don't know if this defense can piece it together enough to make a run. And then all of a sudden, Breeze and the Saints and Sean Payton and Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers and now Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, 9 points in the Super Bowl. I mean,
they just got on a run, John. It was that Saints game. It was those 4 takeaways on defense. They got enough pressure on Drew Brees, didn't sack him, but that kind of keyed the next week's performance where they did get the pass rush going to the point where they got Aaron Rodgers on the ground. They got Vita Vea back. And listen, Patrick Mahomes is hard to sack, right? He was only sacked 3 times tonight. And Ndamukong Suh with the sack and a half. Shaq Barrett had 1. Barrett led the team with 4 pressures tonight. And there was an amazing stat. Let me dig it up right here. This was an absolutely amazing stat. Patrick Mahomes, this is coming from ESPN Stats Info. Patrick Mahomes was pressured on 29 of 56 dropbacks, the most of any quarterback in Super Bowl history. Now check this out. Tom Brady was pressured on 4 of 30 dropbacks, the lowest of his Super Bowl career. So we go from praising Steve Spagnuolo and how he affected Tom Brady in Week 12 to not even mentioning Steve Spagnuolo's name. No. It's Todd Bowles and Todd Bowles alone who gets the praise for this. And again, I think it's a travesty that this guy has not gotten more interviews, and I know all the head coaching jobs are filled now, but trust me, there's a couple of scrubs that got hired this cycle that they're going to wish they had hired Todd Bowles because of what he did.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I mean, the Todd Bowles head coach discussion, to me, I always say, like, the head coach is such a different thing. I don't know. Like, Steve Spagnuolo's trying to be head coach. You know what I mean? Maybe he's just a great defensive coordinator. Maybe it's like a Brent Venables thing. We don't know. Brent Venables might be a great head coach, but it's like some guys are just so good as coordinators. So I don't know. Maybe somewhere else Todd Bowles would be a good head coach, and he certainly deserves that type of consideration. But as a defensive coordinator, what he was able to do this season in terms of taking a team, he wasn't playing press man coverage. They was not working what they were doing coverage-wise. He would not go to 2 high safeties. It cost them in games this season big time. And the offense stepped up, and the offense was unbelievable, especially after the bye. And the offense kept them in games, and the defense couldn't play the way that they should have been playing. And then in the playoffs, he changed. He did this. Yeah. He went to press man coverage predominantly against the Saints and the Packers.
And it worked. Today, that's what you had to do.
But you saw today.
But you couldn't do it today.
Right?
Yeah.
You went 2 high safety coverages. You kept everything in front of you. You forced a short game. I thought Devin White and Levante David were unbelievable in coverage tonight. I mean, unbelievable. And when you heard done that, I just think you made a game plan to win.
You heard Andy Reid say it. He said they threw cover 2 at us on 1st and 2nd down, and then he mixed things up on 3rd down. And what that did was it took away those deep shots that Patrick Mahomes likes.
Right.
And by the time those receivers were starting to get to the safety level, because those safeties were back so far, the front 4 was getting to Mahomes and getting him off the spot, forcing him to roll out. Yeah. And as Todd Bowles said, or maybe it was Bruce Arians, we don't care if Patrick Mahomes runs. He's not going to beat us with his legs. He might pick up a couple first downs, which he did, but guys, it just wasn't enough. And listen, Monty Kiffin, right? He's going to be in this Bucs Ring of Honor. Should have been there this year if not for COVID. He's up here in this Raymond James Stadium upper deck, along with new Hall of Famer John Lynch,
right?
And
we haven't talked about that.
And Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp and all those guys, Tony Dungy, John Gruden, Paul Gruber, all of the Ring of Honor guys. I'm not ready to put Todd Bowles up there yet.
Right.
Okay. But sure. I'm just saying, Monty Kiffin is the defensive coordinator in Tampa Bay history.
Right.
All right. He's here. Todd Bowles after tonight is right here.
He etched his place in history. Yes. With a performance like this in the Super Bowl. I mean, I truly believe the Chiefs are going to go on to be a dynasty in the NFL. I really do. Over the next 10 years, I think that they'll win several Super Bowls. And I think that their offense, we've already seen. I mean, I think you can make a case that the Chiefs have been one of the best teams over the last 3 years that we've seen in the last 20 years. That's how consistently productive and explosive. And what I was saying to you before the game, they don't ever do stuff to beat themselves. And tonight they did do a lot of that stuff on defense, but on offense, they just got it taken to them straight up for 4 quarters. Taken to it. I mean, I could not believe the way that this game unfolded. I just thought the Chiefs would eventually score and the game would end up being close at the end, even if the Bucs won, which I didn't think they'd hang on. But I couldn't believe the way that happened. Now, Dara says if Trevor ever tries to cross the border back to Florida, John, make sure to shit Jason with a stick. Love Trevor. Definitely wish he could have been here tonight. But.
Hey, speaking of Trevor Sick, am I right? And listen, once you're part of the Pewter Report family, you're always part of the fam. That's just how it is. So we just got a fantastic text from Trevor. You covered a champion once again, Scott. Hope it was an amazing experience for you in the press box as it was for me sitting here watching it. Hope this launches Pewter Report to the best year yet. Well, we're off to a great start, and certainly thanks to you guys out there in Super Bowl champion Pewter Nation. Fire the cannons, John. We finally fired the cannons, and that was the time to do it after the game. The NFL said they're not going to do it during the game. Fine, whatever. Shit, John, they fired the hell out of those cannons after the game.
Yeah, they did.
It was outstanding.
Absolutely. And just to keep in line with the type of dude Trevor is, I know he's given a hard time this season, but he texted me before the game. He said, "You're covering a Super Bowl today. Could not be happier for you, brother. My day will come. You deserve to be in that seat. Maybe we'll be covering one sitting next to each other someday," and told me to have fun. So that's the kind of guy that Trevor is. Truly appreciate him and what he's meant to the Pewter Report family for sure. Definitely. I know you all do as well. Brandon says, been super chatting y'all for good luck, and it worked. So have one more. Yes, it did. Thank you for your amazing coverage of this magical team. World champs, baby. They did it. Thank God for Tom Brady. What an unbelievable story Tom Brady is.
Let's get some more of these up here.
Yeah, let's definitely. We got one from Daniel Thurgood.
Thank you so much for these super chats tonight. These are fantastic.
Yeah,
we're going to get some of your comments up here too. While John's fishing through some comments and super chats, go ahead and read this one.
Yeah, Brian says, let's be real. Close followers of the Bucs knew we were going to win this game, maybe not this dominantly. The Bucs will repeat next year if they stay healthy enough, all about injuries. I said this to you, Scott, right before we went on the air. I didn't want to say anything. I honestly almost said something to Britt this morning. Then I was like, I don't want to say anything because I'm a jinx guy sometimes for sure. But I wasn't even worried about this game. I know that sounds insane because it's the Chiefs, but I really just wasn't. I felt so calm. Every other game, I've been like nervous, tense. Like I said, I thought the Packers were going to win. Once they won that game, I was just like, nah, it's in the cards. They're winning the Super Bowl.
For me, it was the Saints game. It's just like the Eagles. Right. I mean, it was all downhill. And I picked the Bucs to win this game, picked the Bucs to win the Packers, just because that psychological barrier had been crossed by beating the Saints. And guess what? The Saints are not doing shit next year.
The Saints right now. How would you like to be the Saints? The Bucs struggle for all these years, and the Bucs have 2 Super Bowl championships, and the Saints have 1.
Yes.
Every team in the NFC South's been to the Super Bowl more recently than the Saints. Scott.
And not just that, John, but Tom Brady walks in the door for the NFC for the first time, and it's a walk-off Super Bowl. It took Drew Brees, how long has he been in New Orleans? 15, 16 years?
Forever.
Right? 17 years? And he's got 1. Okay, well, I mean, at least he's got 1. But.
I can't believe – I mean, if you're a Saints fan, you just got to be absolutely sick.
And your run is over, too. It's the Bucs are winning the NFC South next year, and I think that I saw somewhere that the Packers and the Chiefs are the early Super Bowl favorites, according to some stupid sports betting thing I got here. Who's dumb enough to say this?
Packers and the Chiefs, huh?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Who is this?
We'll see.
Sports Betting Dime. Okay. Well, listen, I got a news for Sports Betting Dime. Last time I checked, the Bucs actually beat the Packers twice this year, right? Twice?
Yep.
Okay. And they just beat the Chiefs. So if anything, I would say the Buccaneers would be the favorites. Now listen, that's going to depend on who comes back, right? Well, Shaq Barrett tonight said that he wants to come back.
And he expects it to be a pretty quick.
Yes, he does not want to have the prolonged contract things. He wants to stay in Tampa. That's great news for the Buccaneers because they saw what he did in the postseason, John. He got 8 sacks during the season, was second in the league in pressures behind only Aaron Donald, but came alive tonight. 4 pressures, 1 sack, 3 sacks the previous game against the Packers.
Yeah, he was unbelievable in this playoff run. Man, I think maybe I was a little too hard on him at some points in the season, to be honest. But he really has played. He's come alive and played huge in big moments. Yeah. I don't know if he's a tier 1 edge defender in the NFL, but I do know that he's a hard guy to replace, and he's the type of person that they want to keep around too, which matters. So,
and boy, he and Jason Pierre-Paul, right? I mean, they work that game so well.
Right, they do. Yeah.
And I think Tampa Bay, if they can get another edge rusher, that in this draft, maybe second round, maybe first round, maybe third round, but they get another edge rusher to groom underneath.
Yes, they need somebody
Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett and teach them the ropes. I think that would be sensational.
Absolutely, there's definitely some room for youth along the defensive line. I think Brady in defense was unreal, but Lenny and Gronk were MVPs for me. Man, there are so many amazing stories from this team, Scott. But, I mean, we could literally go on story arcs for, like, everybody in the team. But Leonard Fournette's arc is crazy to me. I mean, here's a guy who was, like, a top 5 pick for Jacksonville and was the whole offense there and, frankly, just underachieved. He just wasn't that dynamic of a runner.
Right.
He's an okay receiver, but he wasn't great. And they tried to give him 70-some catches and 100-plus targets a year. And it's just not, and in pass protection, again, big physical guy. You'd think like there'd be not really good in pass protection, blew a lot of assignments, came to Tampa Bay. Some people were really excited. He really pretty much most of the regular season disappointed. I mean, he was a healthy scratch in week 14. Arians legitimately wasn't sure he should be a top 3 back on the team at that point. And I don't blame him. The evidence was definitely stacked against Leonard. And, what happened as he's come back into the picture and as he became more prominent part of the offense, no, he was not perfect. He dropped the ball in the playoffs. I mentioned his pass protection was really still struggled a lot in the playoffs. I do think they can easily upgrade from him in the offseason, but some of his runs, and I know tonight's run was totally untouched, and you won't get many easier than that, but some of his runs, just the toughness, the balance, elusiveness that he never showed in the regular season, but he came alive and did there. In the last 2 games, the Bucs defeated the State Farm commercials quarterbacks.
Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. It has not been a great couple of weeks for State Farm with their reps there. So you're right. Listen, I got an amazing stat for you, John. You want to go through and get some more of these super chats here? Here's an amazing stat for you. Every single point that was scored tonight was scored by a Buccaneer that was not on the roster last year. Tom Brady throwing the touchdowns, Rob Gronkowski catching them, Leonard Fournette rushing them, Ryan Suckup hitting the extra points in the field goal. So it's crazy to think, right? Here's another amazing stat. Buccaneers finished the season 12-0, undefeated when scoring 30 points or more. That's an amazing statistic.
That is.
So they did a fantastic job getting to that threshold. We said for the last couple of weeks, if they want to beat the Chiefs, they got to at least get 30 points.
Right.
Last time it was a close game, but it wasn't in their favor. 27-24 didn't hit that threshold. They did tonight for the 7th game in a row.
Yeah, it was remarkable.
Wow.
I mean, Buccaneer Bruce says, happy 49th birthday to me. It is below 0 here with snow, and Chiefs fans are pissed. I love it. Buccaneer Bruce, that's hilarious. Sports betting dime is no mybookie.ag.
That's right.
Love to see it.
That's fantastic.
Love to see it. That's true.
Yep. All right. I was going to say, too, so we're looking at some of the superlatives here. Devin White had 1 of 2 interceptions. Actually, he picked off Mahomes' last pass in the end zone to preserve what I'm going to call a shutout. I mean, listen, those field goals, right? There's still points, but when you hold this type of high-powered offense,
you can call whatever you want
out of the end zone, right? I mean, to me, that's pretty much a shutout. 12 tackles. He was all over the field tonight. 2 tackles for loss, an interception, a pass breakup. John, not only did they get to Mahomes with all those pressures we talked about, they deflected 9 passes and picked him off twice. The safeties really played a huge role in this game. Talk about Mike Edwards.
Oh, my gosh.
Play.
I mean, Mike Edwards, man, like, unbelievable season. And at one point in the year, I was like, man, I wonder if Mike Edwards should be playing more. Jordan Whitehead should be playing less. But Jordan Whitehead was unbelievable too. So, yes. I mean, he played great football. And again, I think Winfield being there allowed both of them to do what they do best. Edwards is best as a deep safety. They were trying to play him all over the place, like a Tyrann Mathieu and like a Budda Baker. Jordan Whitehead is best as a run, box safety, a strong safety. Again, they were trying to play him all over the place. Yeah. They didn't have the type of safety they wanted for this defense until Antoine Winfield came into the picture.
That's right.
He not only made their defense better with his own play, he made Mike Edwards better and Jordan Whitehead better because Todd Bowles could use them in the ways that they were best suited to be used.
Yes.
And Edwards I thought he was unbelievable in today's game. I don't know how many snaps he played. Whitehead came off the field one time and then came back out later. Later in the game, there were 3 safeties out on the field. They were just taking away the deep ball, basically forcing the Chiefs to go underneath. But I thought he played absolutely outstanding. I thought Whitehead played outstanding. There was a defensive penalty, but it was a long Mahomes tried a long pass down the field, and Whitehead turned around and didn't panic at all. Kelsey was ahead of him, didn't panic, turned around, found the ball, knocked it down. Just the kind of play that I don't think he made in deep coverage before. Yeah. He made those kind of plays. Winfield, obviously, with a pick off the Edwards deflection. The safeties were unbelievable. They didn't blow anything. I don't think the Chiefs had a completion until they were giving up the deep zones late in the game. I don't know how many completions in the game until that fourth quarter, maybe then, that they had of 20-plus yards or more. There were certainly no long bomb throws that were completed in the air. And that would be the whole playoffs for the Chiefs, but especially in this game, they just could not find the big play in the passing game.
Yeah. Abuzar Azif, thank you for the super chat. Bill letting Tom go was an awful call. Talking about Bill Belichick letting Tom Brady go. We saw how that worked out this year.
Yes.
How about the O-line tonight and Jason Licht for the amazing draft picks the last couple of years? Let's get Chris back and repeat, meaning Chris Godwin. Offensive line did a phenomenal job, allowed 1 sack tonight.
Yeah.
And only 4 pressures like we talked about. But Jason Licht, this guy – listen, he went through the ringer, right, in 2016 with Vernon Hargraves, with Roberto Aguayo. I mean, that was a swing and miss draft. Noah Spence.
I mean, people wanted him fired on the spot after Aguayo, on the spot.
I took a lot of heat for defending the guy, but I saw the vision, and I stuck up for him because I believe in Jason Licht, and I have for a long time. And the thing about this draft, and you mentioned Whitehead. And Edwards, those were previous draft picks. And he drafted safeties in the 3rd and 4th round. And those guys were starters. But then what did he do this year? He drafted another safety in the 2nd round. And the competition between those guys elevated their play. And they needed all 3 at certain various points of this season as a result.
Right, absolutely. I mean, what he did to flood the defensive back position, such an important position, on the field, you need 5-6 of those guys that can play. He just kept adding to it. A lot of teams and GMs out there would have taken one of the running backs this year, Antonio Gibson or another running back in the 2nd round. The Bucs realized not only was Antoine Winfield extremely high on their board, but also he was a player at a great position of importance for them that could not only allow them to have a better free safety, but also allow their other safeties to play better and in conjunction, their corners to play better. Oh, and by the way, a little bit of this.
Yes.
A little bit of this tonight from Antoine Winfield.
Love that, yes.
I mean, that made him right there my favorite Bucs player, I think. What an unbelievable move. As everybody remembers Tyreek Hill doing this, always going into the end zone.
Oh, yeah.
And then the backflip and doing this last game. And it was just a perfect exclamation
point. Hey, listen,
point
the Gravediggers wanted to come out and make a statement tonight. They were so sick and tired of it.
32nd ranked cornerback group by NFL.com going into the year.
And Sean Murphy-Bunting and Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis, they remember that. And they talk about it all the time. I mean, you talk about some bulletin board material. They've had it all year, right since the beginning. Ryan Crane, appreciate the super chat tonight. Congrats, Pewter Nation. My first $10 to the hundreds I'll spend immortalizing this moment. Has John gone streaking yet? You almost did, because we saw Vita Vea line up down there by the goal line. And I thought, oh, boy.
Couple plays.
Yes.
And they threw to Joe Haig. If they would have thrown to Vita, maybe he would have caught it. And I would have been streaking and fired.
How about this? We had Tampa 2 here. Who are your Super Bowl MVPs outside of TB12?
I thought Levante David was unbelievable. I mean, here we are all week, and I finally turned my back on him a little bit, maybe. And I was like, I don't think you want Levante on Travis Kelce at all.
Right.
Yeah, and Dara brings it up here. But he was just outstanding.
He was sensational.
I mean, he knew what the routes were. He anticipated. He broke on the ball. He fully extended, making plays, knocking passes down. 2 third downs did he break up? Or at least 1 third down, another pass later?
Yeah.
He had at least 2 pass breakups in this game, but he smothered everything else. A couple times he took on lead blockers and even got knocked down so that Devin White could fly in to make a play. Mm-hmm. He knew everything the Chiefs were going to run. I mean,
and you know what?
Exceptional.
John, you look at the statistics, right? Kelce had 8 catches for 82 yards the first game. He had 10 catches for 133 yards this game. And you might think, based on those numbers, he had a better game and Levante David didn't do his job. No, he had that because that's what the Bucs defense was allowing Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
They were allowing the middle of the open dump off to Kelce. Mm-hmm. And then that was like the Bucs cup, right? And they just collapsed on that with both linebackers. The safeties came up and it really took care of business.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I think he was exceptional. I mean, the whole defensive line. Honestly, here's the best part about this win to me. The best part about this win is how grumpy and miserable everybody is on Twitter. Like, there was no dominant performance. Like, no one person stole the show. Everybody wants to make football an individualized sport. First of all, on the quarterback. They want to put it on the court. They want so bad to put or a receiver. Like, they want this receiver to just moss everybody and make amazing catches despite the quarterback sucking. And or, this offensive line's horrible. How many hero plays can a quarterback make? It's not what football is. Football is a team sport. Twitter will try to tell you something different. They're going to be wrong every single time. The Bucs epitomize that. They epitomize the fact that it's a team sport. And I love the fact that it was so freaking hard to pick an MVP from this game. And obviously they went easy route and gave it to Brady. Sure. And Brady was fine. And we'll talk about Brady. He was great. I mean, he did everything he wanted him to do in this game. Yep. But it was hard to do. And everybody's like, Todd Bowles deserves the MVP. Well, you're not going to get – coach isn't going to win MVP. We know this. That's just something people say for some reason. I don't know why. And you say, the defense didn't allow 9 points and Tom Brady's getting MVP. Who are you going to give it to on defense? Because it was everybody. And you can't give an MVP award to the whole unit. If you could, that'd be great. They should give it to the whole team. That's fine too. But what I'm saying is that there really wasn't one single MVP in this game. There really wasn't for the whole playoff run. It was a team effort, offense, defense. They did it together, even special teams. Look at Ryan Suckup. Did he miss in the playoffs? I mean,
no.
He was unbelievable. Perfect. He was perfect in the playoffs.
He's been perfect in his career kicking field goals too, even before he came to Tampa.
Right. Unbelievable performance.
It's outstanding. What else was outstanding? Let's get into Brady here for a quick second.
Yeah.
John, my daughter texted me. My daughter Ellie, who might be watching, she's out in freezing Manhattan, Kansas right now. It's like 7 degrees or 8 degrees in the heart of Chiefs country, wearing her Levante David jersey. She texted me, "First rule in football: don't beat yourself." That's one of my mottos.
You've said that a lot over the years.
I've said that a lot. Covering the Buccaneers, coaching Pop Warner football, South Pasco Predators. It's so true. It rings true. And John, tonight, no turnovers by the Buccaneers. Tom Brady and Bruce Arians said this. He protected the football. That's what he needed to do. Make the plays, protect the football. There was one interception that was negated because of a holding call, defensive holding call. But more importantly, John, this is a Buccaneer team that did not beat itself all the way through the playoffs and into tonight. 4 penalties for 39 yards. That's livable. That's doable. That's manageable.
And one of them was that.
That's right. 15 yards for that.
Having fun.
Kansas City, 11 penalties, 120 yards. Yeah. The huge pass interference.
People were saying that wasn't pass interference too on Twitter. I was like, what are we talking about? That's another thing that happens. Yeah. One bad penalty happens, and I agree. The holding on the interception didn't look like a good call to me. The hold on Mike Evans. But the flag was thrown way before the ball was picked off, too. Right. So it wasn't like there was any result of the play, type of call there. But how is then every penalty after that is just the officials trying to win one for Brady after the league really wants to see Brady win after they just made up a suspension for him years ago. I just don't understand. It's hard for me to keep track of whether the league hates or loves Tom Brady enough to get him wins.
Exactly. Celsius showing up tonight, John, talking 100 miles an hour. Hey,
that ain't no Celsius. That's a Super Bowl win talking, Like, that's what that is.
John, you're undefeated at Raymond James Stadium still.
Undefeated at Raymond James Stadium. And somebody asked me this tonight. They're like, wait, when did you move here? And I said, during the Bucs bye week. So the Bucs have not lost since the Ledyard family has been in Tampa Bay. That obviously has nothing to do with anything, but they haven't lost the month of December, January, February.
John, I saw on Twitter, everyone's like, why the hell didn't you get out here in 2014 during the Lovie Smith years when this team didn't win a single game at Raymond James Stadium?
I don't know if even I could have overcome that, Scott.
Exactly. Tyler Barker with the $10 super chat. Thanks for these super chats tonight, guys. They're coming in. We really appreciate it. Biggest thing I love about this team, everyone can step up when needed. One game, it's Mike. Another, it's Gronk. Another, the defense clamps down. Always someone here, so someone there to change the game.
Yeah.
We talked about this at the very end, John. We talked about this in the press box. You and I were looking at each other, and I said, John, Mike Evans, 1 catch for 31 yards. Now, he did draw some of those pass interference penalties, which were huge, but 1 catch for Mike Evans. Chris Godwin, 2 catches for 9 yards in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right? Gronkowski led the way with 6 catches for 67 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Chris Godwin was my MVP, by the way.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's
before the game.
It's a different player. Every week can step up. In Washington, it was Cam Brate.
Yep.
4 catches for 80 yards. That's the thing when you have all these weapons.
Yeah.
It's so hard to focus. Hey, take away Mike Evans, fine. I mean, there's plenty of weapons that can beat you.
Right.
Take away Chris Godwin, fine. There's plenty of weapons that can beat you.
Yeah, they're all going to be back. Chris Godwin before the game, Ian Rappaport saying Bucs aren't letting him go anywhere.
Yeah, they're going to
re-sign him or they'll franchise tag him if they can't get a long-term deal worked out. John Ward, shout out to the Bucs players who have been through the bad years. Levante, Golston, Evans. I'm so glad he mentioned Will Golston.
Yes.
I thought Will Golston made one of the plays of the game on 4th and goal.
Yes.
When he's chasing Mahomes, I'm like, there's no way. Will Golston, he can't turn that corner. And he dives, lays out, hits Mahomes' foot. Mahomes throws off balance. Devin White should have had another pick on that play. But, oh, my goodness, that was such a great play by Will Golston, man. I was like, in that – there were a couple plays like that, Scott, where they just kept chasing.
Yes.
Mahomes was getting out of it. And there was a play before it when it was incomplete in the back corner of the end zone. Shaq Barrett chased him like from across the field all the way to the other side of the field. After the play, he's like,
yes.
And then Chiefs called timeout to
Jason
save his life.
Pierre-Paul was chasing. Nacho was chasing.
Yes,
right? I mean,
Nacho.
It was great to see.
Yeah, it was a full team effort, honestly, across the board. That's what made it so cool. Zachary Belden, wow, $25 super chat. Greatly appreciated, Zachary. I love Pewter Report. What was the key play in the game to y'all?
All right, well, what I'm going to say is it wasn't really the play. Well, actually, if you want to say the play, it was the touchdown pass to Antonio Brown.
Yes.
The touchdown right before halftime. But really it was that whole series of events, that sequence of events. Yeah. And you looked at me and our boss, Hugh McCarthy, texted me like, what the hell are they doing running the ball on 1st down? Well, but here's the thing.
Very bad.
If you don't run the ball on 1st down, if you throw it and it's incomplete, the Chiefs have 3 timeouts. Okay, then you're forced to run the ball twice to make them burn their timeouts, and then you're going to punt, and they're going to get the ball with 1 timeout left, and that's a scoring opportunity. Oh, and by the way, Chiefs get the ball to start the second half. So from a strategic standpoint, you run the ball, see if you can pop it. If not, the Chiefs are going to burn their timeout, which they did. Yep. Then the Buccaneers were able to get into their offense a little bit. And march down the field, and of course that big, huge pass interference penalty was big.
Right.
Then there's another pass interference penalty on Tyrann Mathieu in the end zone, which that might have been questionable, but it's more defense holding than it was pass interference.
Yeah, the ball was in the air. I just thought it might have been nothing. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's possible. I thought they had a gripe on both of that hold and the one on the interception, but either way, it was just say the Bucs don't score on that. Plus, the Bucs had the Joe Haig drop.
Yeah, well, which, it wasn't really a drop. I mean, Wilson, I think it was Wilson or Hitchens, one of the 2 linebackers, punched the ball out.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Haig actually had it.
Yeah.
And the guy came and punched it out. So that was actually
wrap it up, Joe.
Yeah,
come on, Joe. Wrap it. Likely, it didn't matter, so it's okay.
No, you're right. So I think that was the play of the game. That Antonio Brown touchdown right there. Yeah. Again, right, we saw what a touchdown does right before halftime. You got to go in and think about it. We saw that last week with that Scotty Miller or 2 weeks ago with that Scotty Miller touchdown in Green Bay. It just changes the dynamic. You can see the momentum shift to Tampa Bay, and it just takes the air out of the sails for their opponent. 2 weeks ago was Green Bay. Today was Kansas City. Yeah,
I think that's a good one. I mean, I think the touchdown drive, the Bucs' first drive of the second half after the Chiefs put a field goal up to start the half, and it was 21-9. Yeah. And then they went right down and got a touchdown again. That was, to me, I think the play action was that. I think that was the drive with the play action touchdown or the play action pass to Gronk down the middle of the field. And I thought that drive and the touchdown by Lenny, that drive you could say was one of the turning points of the game. And then the interception, I believe, was on the following drive to put him right there with a chance to really – the field goal 31-9, that's kind of made it the final score. And I felt like at that point it was just going to be really difficult. The Chiefs were going to have to, really flip the script.
Right.
We hadn't seen them look bad for as long as they looked bad in this game like they did before. And so I thought that was kind of those were two pretty critical moments in the game as well, in my opinion.
And how about Tampa Bay, Buccaneers, Super Bowl champions, Lightning, Stanley Cup champions, and then you're looking at the Rays who
making it,
who made it,
coming up really close. I know you're a baseball guy, so I'm not a baseball guy either.
Hey, who's taking off work tomorrow?
Oh.
Not me. Not us.
I was about to say, your boy. Then I was like, no, not at all.
Thank you so much for these super chats that are rolling in. A couple more statistics that are really key. There was a point in time, I think to the start of the fourth quarter, John, Tyreek Hill had 2 catches for 13 or 23 yards or something like that. Absolutely crazy. Hill finishes with the pedestrian 7 catches for 73 yards. Long of 23.
Yeah, and again, almost all this is at the end of the game when they're
just garbage
playing
time.
deep zone for prevent defense and just keeping everything in front of them, tackle the catch.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy how much they overwhelmed him throughout the game. For a guy that put 200 up in the first quarter last time, to totally take him out of the game for 3 quarters the way that they did was unbelievable. And again, a lot of too high coverages, but what was crazy in this game to me, Scott, and this does not take away at all from what the Bucs defense did. I think it's one of the best defensive performances of all time. Time. I think that's how much I think of this Chiefs offense and what the Bucs were able to do to them all game long. But I think it was crazy to me in this game how much Patrick Mahomes wanted to go down the field. I couldn't believe.
And they just took it away.
Yeah, I couldn't believe he was not getting the ball. Even on plays where he wasn't sacked and the Chiefs O-line did a great job, he was holding the ball forever trying to make a play. And it was really strange to me why they weren't just whenever he got it out quick and Kelsey on those little, Kelsey was running those curls and he'd catch it and he'd get first down and would be like, man, why aren't they just doing this all game long? And he was really trying to go down the field. And it just wasn't there. Yeah. And so really crazy, I thought, the way that part of the game unfolded. I know we are going to talk about the Bucs offense a little bit. I've got some Tom Brady stats I definitely want to get to in this game. But Terrence showed up. Now it's a party. $25 super chat from Terrence. Thank you, man. Sorry I'm late, but oh my gosh, the Bucs won the Super Bowl. What a season. Thank you guys for all your work. You all believed. Early in the season, I'm just going to be honest. I come from Pittsburgh. Y'all did not believe, and that is totally fine. I totally get it. Y'all were scarred from the stuff that had happened early on. And to see the transformation on this podcast from y'all, we're going to lose. Literally, when they're in the bye, I'm like, they're going to win all 4 games coming out of the bye. And y'all are like, we'll go 2-2 at best. Wouldn't surprise me if we won 1-3, dropped all 4. I completely got it. I understand. I'm not even ripping. That stuff takes a toll on you mentally, I think. But the way y'all have been able to swing it so that when I picked the Packers in the playoffs to win, I couldn't live that down to save my life. Y'all really swung all the way the other direction. And now I told Scott before we went on the air, I was like, nobody is going to be able to tell Bucs fans nothing for a year. They are going to be on it for a year. You can't talk to them. And that's why, honestly, Scott, that's why I loved Winfield doing this. Because to me, it was like, this is a new Bucs team.
It is.
You can't backflip on us. Right. You can't whoop us and not expect us to come back and get you. And that's what it represented.
And this secondary really has grown by leaps and bounds from a confidence standpoint, from a playmaking standpoint, and then really to a shutdown standpoint tonight, because that's what it was. There was the one interception, right? Because Devin White, the linebacker, had the other one. But one interception tonight, they did break up a handful of passes, but it was really just lockdown coverage.
Yeah,
it was. It was just plastering and just being sticky and not giving Mahomes an open target to throw the ball to. Right. And so it's like, we've seen Sean Murphy-Bunting kind of been hit or miss, right? He gives up a big play, but then he gets an interception. But I thought tonight, just the secondary was just so solid and sticky in their coverage.
I agree.
And we had the bird's eye view here in the press box. There just weren't any open receivers.
Right. John? The maturation of Sean Murphy-Bunting is an incredible. We talked about storylines, just people and players. This is just incredible how he literally couldn't do anything right. This is a good one. he literally couldn't do anything right for so much of the season, and then all of a sudden he gets to the playoffs and goes crazy. And Alex, I'm on top of a Bucs win tonight. I found out I'm going to be a dad.
Gosh. That's fantastic.
There's not what a night.
Congratulations.
Unbelievable.
Between Buccaneer Bruce having his birthday today and then Alex finding out he's going to be a dad, boy, this is a Super Bowl Sunday for y'all out there. This is fantastic.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, Sean Murphy-Bunting in that secondary, I just think, man, from being ranked 32nd by NFL.com before the year. And I remember Carlton talking about it and saying, like, yeah, that motivates us. Yes, we've talked about it. Like, yes, that's something that they brought it up. I mean, so it was something they noticed. And, I mean, a lot of people, including myself with Murphy-Bunting anyway, thought, man, maybe it isn't going to happen this year for this group.
Yep.
And they put it together with their toughest test of the season. And give Todd Bowles credit. He put him in position to make those kind of plays with his alignments.
You know what? Mark Hook had a fantastic Hook column this week. He talked about how this is a super season for the Buccaneers. 2021 can actually be better than this. And I think that's the case. I think from an offensive standpoint, again, we talked about it. 30 straight points in 7 consecutive wins. And this offense averaged over 30 points per game, 30.8 during the regular season, a little bit higher in the postseason. I think it's around 32 points per game in the postseason. And, John, I think they can take this to the next level. I asked Bruce Arians about a month ago about this, scoring in the 30s. And I said, it's 40 points. Is that, like, out of the question? He's like, yeah, that's out of the question, but 35 sounds good.
Right.
So I think that there's room for this offense to grow. And we'll see if Leonard Fournette comes back. We'll see if Antonio Brown comes back. We'll see how many of these players they can fit under the cap, which went up a little bit from about 176 to 180.
83, 85. We'll see somewhere around there. Yeah, it sounds like, which is good for the Bucs, but also not so high that the Saints. We know we've talked to some people here, and it was like, well, we can make it work if the cap's not like 203 or something like that. Like, but other teams, they might have a hard time making it work. And so I think they've got a great plan. They know how to structure these contracts. I mean, Mike Greenberg is amazing, and I think that they're going to get Shaq and Godwin and Levante all in under the cap and restructure whatever else they need to restructure.
And get that guy right there. Get
Ryan
that
Suckup.
guy.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Suckup. Get him. Ryan Suckup.
Yeah. What an Taylor had a hilarious tweet during the game. He said Ryan Suckup was the most important signing of the Bucs offseason.
Technically, you look at Grizz, and I appreciate his effervescence when it comes to wanting to spit out some hot takes.
Yes. I think he was kidding.
But you know what? I mean, Ryan Suckup was the highest scoring Buccaneer in team history, 136 points. He was perfect in the postseason, had one missed extra point, but on field goals, he was perfect. Drilled a 52-yarder tonight.
Yeah, what a kick that was.
Yeah. So, I mean, and listen, we all know, and maybe if you're a New England fan who became a Buccaneer fan because of Tom Brady and Gronk, you might not know this, but that has been the Achilles heel. Jason Licht has tried to trade for kickers. He has drafted 2 kickers. He has signed high-priced free agent kickers like Nick Folk and Chandler Catanzaro. He has found in-season replacements like Cairo Santos, and the other name escapes me. Can't remember. Pat Murray. There's been so many kickers that have come through Tampa that just have not been able to stick. And Ryan Suckup comes in. And listen, it would have been easy for him to say, we brought in competition. We like Matt Gay. He had a couple misses last year. He's our draft pick. We're going to keep him, right? It would have been easy for them to say that. But for Light to give up on the draft pick and go with what ended up being the better guy. And I think Matt Gay is going to be a very good kicker for the Rams.
Right.
But Ryan Suckup had the best season in franchise history, kicking the ball 90% field goals over 93% extra points. Even Martin Gramatica said it was the best.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the season he had was unbelievable. There's no question about it. And we kept waiting. When's that? His only bad game was Detroit, and that was the game they didn't need him at all. So it was like perfect the way that worked out. We've talked a little bit about Brady in this game. We come into Super Bowls. I think we all do this as fans. We want quarterbacks to be the storyline because quarterbacks drive our thinking basically toward a team's chances to win, all of those things. I thought Brady Brady didn't do anything wrong tonight. He really didn't. I'm trying to think if he missed even a throw. I mean, he only missed a few throws in the whole game, I think.
And it being
no
21
tonight.
of 29.
Yeah, there were a couple quick timing issues. Tyler Johnson and Mike Evans both ran like a mesh in the middle of the field, and there was like a timing issue with them finding the ball. Chris Godwin came out of his break late on the first drive, first third down of the game, and those two were a little bit off. Tanner Hudson ran. He could have had a touchdown to Tanner Hudson. Tanner Hudson ran to the front pylon. He should have run to the back pylon where Brady was throwing the football in that play, and he just had the wrong landmark again. So, like, little things like that, but I don't know if Brady did anything wrong in the game, to be honest. It was kind of like just like he wasn't literally putting the team on his back and carrying him because he didn't have to because the rest of the team played so well. But here's a crazy thing, Scott, in this game that, again, I think speaks to how important it is to do things well schematically. We talked a ton about how Todd Bowles changed things on defense. Yeah. But what the Bucs did on offense to change, even in a game like this, even in a game, where after being very run heavy on first down last couple games, mix it up more in this game. Again, they were ahead, so like the final numbers might look pretty run heavy on first down. Right. But the best thing that they did, they went play action. When I wrote about what are the answers to pressure that you have to have in this game that you didn't have last time. 5 play action passes the whole game last time against the Chiefs. This time, 10 of 13. Brady was 10 of 13 for 135 yards and 3 touchdowns on play action. The Bucs won this game tonight, obviously because of what the defense did. But on offense, they won this game tonight because they went play action. It works all the time, period, no matter what. They went play action in this game, and Brady was able to find people off play action consistently all game long. 135 yards, 3 touchdowns, 10 of 13. The most play action passes I think they had or play action dropbacks they had in a season, or all season, were I think 14 against Washington, and one of those was a sack. So he had 13 pass attempts off play action against Washington in the beginning of the playoffs. Then they were low play action again, and they've been a low play action most of the season. Again, they're the best team in the NFL in play action. They just do it at like one of the bottom rates in the league. So again, it worked for them tonight. It works, hopefully next season it's stable.
I'm really, just feeling Shea here. I'm jealous. He's sitting there drinking a Guinness, living his best life, watching
chicken
Super Bowl.
wings.
I know, man.
Things are all right.
Sitting here drinking water.
Shea was in the locker room chats today, I believe, that Taylor and Matt did before the game and halftime. Those were great. Had some good fan participation in those as well.
So one more thing as it pertains to Brady, very similar to what happened in Green Bay, John. Great first half, gets touchdowns on the board. Didn't nearly have as bad a second half as he did with the interceptions that he had in Green Bay. But really was just, handing the ball off and being the caretaker in the second half.
Yeah, wasn't a lot of tough throws. For a guy who made all these tough throws all season long, this was not a game where they hunted the deep ball 100 times, or they just didn't do that.
Again, Mike Evans, 1 catch, 31 yards. Chris Godwin, 2 catches, 9 yards. But boy, John, the running game, the offensive line, Ryan Jensen, Donovan Smith, Ali Marpet. Who's that guy? Aaron Stinney. We didn't hear about him tonight. That's a good thing for an offensive line.
I noticed him a couple times. Key block on Leonard Fournette's touchdown run, I believe. He was great. Tristan Wirfs.
And the tight ends, Joe Haig, when he was in there blocking Gronk and Cameron Brate. We're looking at the stats here, and the Buccaneers ran the ball, averaging 5.4 yards per run, 145 yards, 33 rushes. So they're actually, no, I take that back, 4.4 yards per rush attempt. Of course, that includes a couple of those kneel downs for Brady at the end. But John, I mean, what a fantastic job of running the ball. It was led by playoff Lenny, who came through with a touchdown. He now has more touchdowns than any other running back in Buccaneer history.
No way.
In the playoffs, except for Mike Alstott.
Alstott
has 7 in all of his career.
Yeah, and what did Lenny have?
4. He's got 4 in 4 games. So
if he comes back,
watch out, A-Train. But the crazy thing is 16 carries, 89 yards, 5.6 yards, and a touchdown. Ronald Jones averaged 5.1 yards, 61 yards on 12 carries. And but it's interesting, right? Because what are they going to do with playoff Lenny? This is a question our readers and viewers and listeners have been asking us in all of these super chats, or I should say in all of these chats during the podcast. Is what about playoff Lenny? We kind of put off that question. We kind of put it off and put it off and put it off. And now, I mean, it's here. But this is a guy that has experienced a rebirth, and maybe he wants to go for a bigger role elsewhere. But John, we've heard all year long that Rojo was the guy, but Rojo has not been the guy.
Yeah. I mean,
down the stretch.
What's frustrating about it is that even tonight, like I know Leonard had the wide open touchdown run that probably either of them scoring, but Rojo's the better runner. Like I mean, Rojo breaks more tackles. Runs way harder, more explosive. I mean, how many times in the open field tonight, Leonard one-on-one with the corner on the outside, and he just literally upright runs right into it. I'm like, Scott, what is this guy doing? He's just him in the corner on the whole side of the field. There's just not like a natural sense in space a lot of time for Lenny, and I don't want to knock him or whatever, but I just think, again, Ronald Jones is the more talented player.
Yes.
But until Ronald Jones proves himself in pass protection, and again, I know Leonard hasn't been great at it, but he's still better than Ronald Jones.
Right.
And until Ronald Jones, he just doesn't even understand. Like, he literally goes out for a pass and he doesn't turn around. He doesn't put his hands up and look for the ball. Like, none of those things. He's just never where he's supposed to be. Until he gets that part of the game, somebody else is going to play him. I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll be playoff Lenny, but I think there'll be somebody else here playing his snaps.
Chris says, Scott, great job recruiting John. Well, thank you, but thank you, John, for actually being recruited and saying yes and joining the Pewter Report staff just a year ago.
Yes,
literally
367 days ago.
Yes. So good things happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a fantastic ride. So the first year of many. Can't wait till we see year 2 here. Yeah. I thought I knew football until I listened to him. John knows football, man. That's why he's on the Pewter Report team. I grew up in Tampa, live in the epicenter of COVID in Los Angeles. You guys kept me sane while sheltering in place. Vita was money. Well, we thank you for the money, Chris. Thank you so much for that super chat.
Vita was money. And tonight, playing on the edge a little bit.
Yes, how about that? He was doing some different things.
Just wild. If you think about a guy that size playing on the edge in the NFL, if you would have said to me pre-draft, you think Vita can play on the edge situationally? I would have probably skipped that comment. I wouldn't have even brought it up. I would have just like, what? But there he was out there tonight pushing the pocket. Again, the Bucs, I thought what Todd Bowles did a great job if he got Jason Pierre-Paul inside a couple times. And it made a big difference. Quick wins for Pierre-Paul over those guards. We knew that would be a weak spot in the matchup, right? Not necessarily Wisniewski, but definitely inside. What the heck is the other guard's name? Now I can't think of it. I cannot remember.
For the Chiefs?
His name. Yes. Who's the left guard for the Chiefs?
I don't have the.
I have it in my thing. But anyway, whoever it was. Allegretti. Nick Allegretti. Yeah. So he had quick wins over Allegretti in the game, and I thought that made a huge difference. Again, it was not just about coverage, but it was also about getting your guys good matchups to win up front on the defensive line. There were some exotic pressures early in the game. I mean, the touchdown or the pass that Mahomes made that was actually a great throw that went off and ended up going off Tyreek Hill's face mask. But again, like Antoine Winfield's face is our hand is in Tyreek Hill's face. Like, obviously Tyreek Hill's not, you can't even see the ball. Everybody's like, oh, Hill dropped, Antoine Winfield made a heck of a play to keep that from being a touchdown and wasn't getting any credit for it. But I thought that was a great play. And that was the one where they brought double corner pressure. Double corner pressure against the Chiefs. Like, talk about living on the edge dangerously. I love it. And it got home enough. Jamel Dean, we were yelling, break down. Like,
yes, right. I know.
On that sack. But yeah, there's some interesting stuff by Bowles for sure.
How about Ronald Jones not getting into the end zone? Listen, say what you want about the throw to Joe Haig on second down. Okay, fine. You still had 2 cracks at it. The Bucs did the right thing because 3rd and goal. Yeah. 3rd and 2 is a rundown, John. Right. And they tried to run it. And they got 1 yard.
Yeah.
And then they tried on 4th down and they didn't get in. Would Leonard Fournette have gotten in over Ronald Jones?
I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I think that's the other thing with Ronald Jones is that, like, if he's a more natural runner and elusive in the open field, and he runs through more tackles than Leonard in the open field, but sometimes, like, natural, like in that situation, I just jump and extend the ball. Like, I just don't think it's that hard. He just keeps the ball wrapped up and doesn't think like that. Like, it's just hard to explain with Ronald. It's just not, like, football isn't just all like the sum of these parts. It's also like this just natural instinctiveness. It's probably best summarized by Mahomes. Look at the way that he just moves and maneuvers around people while his eyes are downfield. It's just a feel for situations and space and what you have to do in certain. And Rojo just kind of, whether he has that or not, just seems to be like up in the air on any given snap. Exactly. So he's talented, but again, can you count on the guy?
Right. So we're doing this again tomorrow. We're going to have our Victory Monday for the final time.
Yes.
Until
they'll all be Victory Mondays.
Yes. So. Yeah, but I mean until
we'll probably have to name it something.
Right until September. Then the next Victory Monday starts. This will be our final Victory Monday of the 2020 season. Although we're into the second month of 2021 now, February, which is crazy. So, and because we didn't bring our ball trimmers up here. The weed whackers.
Did not bring him to Raymond James.
Yeah, I should say the Lawnmower 3.0. We're not going to do the Manscaped game balls today. We're going to give those out tomorrow.
Right.
We'll have Mark Cook on the podcast tomorrow as well, getting his thoughts on Super Bowl. Yes. And also we'll have those official game balls then. But I would be remiss if we didn't thank all of our sponsors. Celsius, they've been fantastic as our title sponsor. Briar Greaves, MyBookie, Manscaped, Locker Room. We've got some fantastic sponsors to support what we do here. Everybody out here throwing us super chats tonight and all throughout the season. And Courtney, doubling the super chats the other night. That was an amazing gesture. Greatly appreciate that. I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Briar Greaves real quick. Yes. What a year for the Buccaneers, but John, what a year for the insurance world, right? The record number of storms that have hit this country, 30 named storms, flooding, in addition to wildfires. Then, of course, you got the pandemic on top of that. The place to go for your insurance needs is Briar Greaves. If you don't know by now, it's BriarGreavesInsurance.com. Briar was actually at our Glory Days podcast on Saturday, which is great. He came out and shook hands with Buccaneer fans and had lunch with us. It was great to see. But more importantly, aside from Briar being a great guy, he's going to get you the best insurance rates around. And not just rates for homeowners, but also commercial insurance rates, automobile insurance rates, life insurance. If you already have insurance, give him a call and say, hey, Briar, this is what I have with this company. Yeah. He's going to look at it and he might say, you know what, stick with what you got. I can't beat those rates. Or better yet, he's going to say, hey, I can beat your rate here. Or you know what, you're a little underinsured here. So let's get this coverage up a little bit. Or you might be overinsured here. You're paying too much money. You don't need that. So this is a guy that is a pro. Briar, his son Sam, they've been in this insurance business for a long time. Briar's been in this Tampa Bay area for 30 years. I've only been in here for 25 years, John.
I know.
I went to the door with Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks in 95. Briar's been here longer than I have, serving the Tampa Bay area. So you want to visit BriarGreavesInsurance.com or give them a call at 813-876-4166. That's 813-876-4166, BriarGreavesInsurance.com.
Well, I just looked, Scott, to see, Antoine Winfield quotes. I'm sure somebody asked him about the peace sign.
Let's see it.
Nobody asked him about it. What we're doing. That's one thing I want to know from the guy.
It's so hard on these Zoom calls because we get like one question maybe. And
but they ask like 10 questions.
Yeah. And sometimes you get people from foreign countries asking questions that
sometimes the players have to ask for things to be repeated. The technology isn't always great.
Yeah.
Today there were like 15 calls overlapping.
Right. And nothing against people from foreign countries. Some of the questions are like, how does it feel to win the Super Bowl? Yeah. Like, wow.
Sometimes,
okay.
Yeah. Sometimes sometimes there's a gap in, when they're trying to communicate ideas and stuff. And then the service or whatever is not great either. The quality of the calls are often not great either.
Well, listen, Stephen, we really appreciate this. We appreciate all the kudos we've gotten tonight in addition to the super chats we've been reading them. Thank you so much for all of the praise you've given us. But it's you guys who show up that allow this to happen. If there's no audience, there's no reason to do a Pewter Report podcast. You guys have stepped up. We're over 3,200 subscribers now. We've just been doing this, John, for a couple months on YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed, and we see about 650 people in the chat right now on YouTube. There's more on Facebook and Twitter. Yeah. But if you haven't gone to YouTube and subscribed to Pewter Report TV, do that. It's real quick and easy, and it's free. Yeah. Hit subscribe, then click on notifications, and then whenever we go live, you'll get a little ding on your phone, and you'll be able to tune in. It's not just you Buccaneer fans and Pewter Report readers and listeners and viewers out there that get us through this. It's our family. So I want to take this time to thank my wife, Ashley, and my 4 great kids. In order of age, Ellie and Caden and Logan and Jillian for supporting us. This has been a long football season, John. Usually it ends in January. We're at the East West Shrine game. We're at the Senior Bowl. We're at the Combine. We're talking draft. Some years, John, we talk draft in October, November. Right.
Absolutely.
This year we haven't talked draft at all, but guess what? We had a mock draft coming this week on PewterReport.com, our first one. So make sure you stay tuned to PewterReport.com. I think Wednesday we're going to come out with that.
Can you still get good players with a 32nd pick?
It's the first time, John. It's the first time.
Guess we'll have to find out.
Yeah,
for the first time ever.
Exactly.
The latest the Bucs have ever picked in a draft because of the trade with the John Gruden. The last time they won the Super Bowl, they had already traded that first-round pick before they even won the Super Bowl. So.
Exactly. And if you're jonesing for some draft coverage now because football season's over, okay, fine. Go to PewterReport.com. Just published a story that talks about that. It talks about the Buccaneers having the 32nd overall draft pick. The cat's out of the bag, John. They won the Super Bowl. That's the consolation prize you get for being the world champion. You have the last pick of the first round. So, yeah, it's they're going to pick 32nd. And the important thing is this team does have some needs. They're going to have some needs in free agency, and we list a couple of those in that article. So check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's going to be a very, very fun offseason. Always is when you win your last game. Only one team can say it, and that team is the Bucs. Long Lost Glazer says, John, going to make sure that subscription hits 5K by draft time. Love that.
Yes.
His draft content and our love of draft content powered by a Super Bowl win. That is the formula. That is the formula. We're going to have some
powered by Celsius.
And powered by Celsius, absolutely. We're going to have some awesome draft content on the podcast this offseason. We're also going to have tons of free agency and trade talk too, because that's going to be the biggest thing for the Bucs is their own free agents. So that'll be one of the biggest storylines of the season is just how that all goes. We know how we expect it to go, but we're going to have to make sure we're keeping abreast of all of those moves and how that stuff's going. But yes, the draft, we'll have it covered, and we'll have it covered according to the Bucs' needs heavily as well. So lots of stuff to do there.
No doubt about it. Eric Cullison's Super Bowl baby. Yeah,
Eric's in here. Let's go.
And speaking of podcast guests, I had a chat with Jason Licht, and we're hoping to get him Wednesday or Thursday on the pod. Mm-hmm. So he gave me a verbal today that could happen, and we'll just have to make sure we get that plan. But look for Jason Licht to be our guest either Wednesday or Thursday. I'm gonna try to nail him down.
Right.
Obviously, he's going to have some commitments.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because you don't know everything that's going on in this.
And if it's not this week, it'll be the next week. Right. But I think we'd like to get him as soon as possible, and so maybe Wednesday or Thursday for the pod. If not, look for it maybe Monday or Wednesday of the following week.
And we've got a lot to talk to him about, including his Twitter game.
Yes,
which
right.
Involves blowing up your boy.
Yes.
We have to re-sign Levante, so odd man out has to be Shaq or Sue.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
I'm actually curious to see what Sue does. What he and McClendon do. They retire? McCoy too?
Yeah.
McCoy won't be back, obviously, but I wonder if those guys – I mean, McCoy, win a ring, you're clearly done. You won one last year, the Chiefs, right? Yeah. So
he did.
Go back-to-back rings.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
For not doing much.
Yeah, not doing anything. He wasn't even active on for the Chiefs. So, he'll be out of there, I think.
How about Drew Stanton getting a Super Bowl ring with the Buccaneers?
That's right. I forgot about that.
Because Drew Stanton is one of Bruce Arians' guys.
And Ted Larson.
Yeah, and Ted Larson,
and A.Q. Shipley. Those guys were all like late additions.
Yep.
Arians guys.
I know. That's kind of crazy.
It's family, man.
Yeah,
Arians brings his guys and gets them a ring, and those guys all did something, even if Ted Larson wasn't great. Go out and grab James White. Yes.
We talked about it before. They're going to have to replace some running backs, right, John? I mean, if Leonard Fournette does go to greener pastures, and when we say greener pastures, not necessarily a best team, but maybe green like dollar bills, y'all.
Yes.
And if that's the case, they might need a running back or two. James White, Rex Burkhead, Deion Lewis, all three running backs played with Tom Brady in New England, and all three would look really good catching passes from Tom Brady. And John, they're seeing what happens, right? When you get out of that Bill Belichick thumb that they're under, and they come down here to the sun and the beaches and Tampa, like Gronk and Brady, you win Super Bowl rings.
Right.
So it's going to be really interesting to see which free agents the Buccaneers are going to have their pick from that want to play with Tom Brady, that want to get a ring.
That's true.
I'm not saying I'm not saying JJ Watt, for example, but I'm just saying it's like
not saying it.
Yeah, not saying it. not saying it either. Yeah, but there's going to be some players that are going to take less, that want the chance to play with Brady and win a ring in Tampa, because now you've been there and done that. And see, that's the thing. The Patriots had that lure. You want to play for Bill Belichick and play with Tom Brady, come to New England. It's going to have to be cheaper than what you would get elsewhere.
Right.
But you have the chance here. And now Tampa Bay has proven that they're that kind of team, that you can win a Super Bowl under Bruce Arians and with Tom Brady.
And obviously, I'm not going to go down J.J. Watt lane, but I will say this. I think J.J. Watt is not going to be a Texan. I think he's going to be on another team. I think he's made a ton of money in his career. I think he's made a ton of money in his career. I think he's probably not going to play that much longer. He suffered a bunch of serious injuries before in his career. He probably wants to go somewhere where he can win, where it's a great organization, where he doesn't have to deal with all the BS the Texans have put him through. And just saying, Tampa's a pretty great place to live, and he'd probably take less money to play wherever he plays. So I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying I'm not ruling it out either. I think it's actually a possibility. So we'll leave you with that.
And here's the thing. J.J. Watt will require a trade. Does pick 64 get that done? I mean, what would you rather have, a second round?
Oh, I'd rather have J.J. Watt.
Or J.J. Watt, right, exactly.
For sure.
You want to draft some edge rusher who, behind Shaq and JPP, might get 2, 4, 5 sacks in some developmental role.
There's also the chance J.J. Watt would get cut. You can get out of J.J. Watt's by Houston. So they could cut because his contract they can get out of. So they could release him, and then he could be free. If they can't work out a trade, then he could be free to sign somewhere else. So
and Jason Licht is not afraid to trade middle round picks for players. Jason Pierre-Paul, 3rd round pick a couple years ago. This year, 4th round pick for Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
So don't rule it out.
J.J. Watt, JPP, Shaq Barrett, Vita Vea, maybe a little Sioux running back. It's good stuff. It's a great time to be a Tampa Bay fan. It's a great time to be a Buck fan. It's a great time to be on the Pewter Report podcast with y'all. We greatly appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow night, 7:30. We'll be live. We'll be breaking down this game. Mark Cook will be with us. We'll have lots to talk about, lots of stats, PFF grades, all that kind of stuff to get into from this one. The Bucs, the only team to finish the season with a win. You love to see it. 2nd World Championship.
The only team to host and now win a Super Bowl.
That's crazy.
In their own home stadium. And we're right here, Raymond James Stadium. And yes, Shaq Barrett said this was a home game.
That's right.
He could feel it. This was a home game in every sense of the word, from hearing Tampa Bay to on 3rd down, getting the crowd fired up. I mean, this had that home crowd advantage for Tampa Bay, and they cashed in tonight.
What a time. It's unbelievable. Thank you all so much for tuning in for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast.
Out.